Every single day of your life has been lit by a star. Its warmth settles on your skin in the morning. Year after year, it pulls the planets along their patient circles. You glance up and you call it huge, a furnace broad enough to swallow 1,000,000 worlds the size of ours. And from where we stand, that feels like the very ceiling of power. Yet the cosmos is darker than the mind wants to admit. And the moment you pull back far enough, that blazing furnace begins to shrink. Our sun thins to a single pale spark, a small trembling light, almost ready to be lost. And here is the uncomfortable truth that the night sky keeps from us. Our star is not large, and out here, it is not even rare. Set against what actually fills the void, our sun ranks as small and almost fragile. Drift outward, past the warm little bubble we call home, into the places where the familiar map of distances quietly falls apart. Far along one of the great spiral arms of our galaxy, a stretch of stars and dust that astronomers labeled Scutum-Centaurus, roughly 20,000 years of travel at the speed of light from your front door. Something enormous is hiding in the haze, a bloated, fading colossus of fire. Humans have given it a name, and the name is almost laughably small for the thing it points to. Stephenson 218. Look straight at it, honestly, and you feel the ground tilt under your feet. For a long time, we believed we already understood what an outright oversized star looked like. We aimed our telescopes at famous monsters carrying names like UY Scuti and VY Canis Majoris, bloated suns so wide that each one could hold billions of our own, and we quietly assumed we had found the outer edge of what was possible. Then this thing stepped out of the dust and made them look ordinary. Some readings place its width at well over 2,000 times that of our sun. To stretch our entire star across its face, edge to edge, like a single bead on a string, you would have to line up over 2,000 of them just to reach the far side. And even that figure is only a careful guess. Why? Because an object this distant, this wrapped in its own burning haze, simply refuses to be measured cleanly. The estimate even runs past what our theories say a star should be able to reach, which means the crown might not really belong to it at all. The strangest part is this. The largest star we know of is also one we can barely pin down. This is where language quietly surrenders. To call it big is nearly an insult. The only way I can force my own mind to hold it is to carry it home and set it down among things I already know. So try this with me. Reach up, take our sun out of the sky, and lower this giant into the spot it used to fill. There is no slow sunrise, no kind warning. In the instant it appears, its glowing skin already reaches past where Mercury once traced its tight little orbit. Venus, that blistered world of acid sky and crushing weight, is simply not there anymore, erased before a heartbeat finishes. And then it reaches us. Every coastline, every crowded city, every word any human ever spoke folded silently into the fire. We would feel nothing at all. We would just be gone, a sound too faint to register, lost somewhere deep within the living body of a giant. Even now it is still unfolding. A towering cliff of dark red plasma pushes outward, a slow flood of heat and gravity that nothing in its way can resist. Mars vanishes without leaving so much as a scar. The entire belt of asteroids flashes into vapor and is forgotten. Much farther out, alone in the cold, sits Jupiter, a giant so colossal you could tip 1,000 Earths into its endless storms and still have room. Beside this newcomer, the proud king of our planets counts for nothing. It is dragged beneath that rolling, boiling skin and is gone. Still, the sea of fire keeps swelling, on and on, until its outer edge finally laps against the orbit of Saturn. Now place yourself out there. You are standing on the frozen shell of a small icy moon that circles Saturn, and you turn to look back toward where the sun should be. The black of space is gone. Every familiar star has been scrubbed away. Stretching across the whole of the heavens above you, edge to edge, horizon to horizon, is one curved wall of crimson fire, hotter than millions of degrees, leaning out over your tiny iced world like something that should not be allowed to exist. You could drop 10 billion copies of our Sun into this single object and still not fill it. Hold on to that picture, because it is the honest one. Every planet and moon we have ever named, and every place a probe has ever managed to reach, would sit inside this one star with room to spare on all sides. Our Sun, our Earth, the whole of it, shrunk down to a faint detail lost somewhere deep in the glow. And honestly, even that picture is not enough. So leave the planets behind for a breath and think instead about light itself. Light is the firm, final ceiling of everything, the quickest motion the universe will ever permit, racing along at 186,000 miles in the span of 1 second. It is fast enough to circle our entire planet 7 full times between 2 beats of a calm heart. Let a single flash of it sprint all the way around the middle of our own Sun, and it comes back home in a touch over 14 seconds. Now turn that same flash loose around the waist of this hypergiant. Seconds will not cover it. Not even a full minute comes close. That beam, moving at the absolute hard limit of reality, drags itself slowly around the curve for nearly 9 long hours before it manages to close one loop. Strap that same path onto a passenger jet at cruising speed, and it would have to fly without rest for 5 centuries just to arrive back at its starting point. Sit with that for a moment. That is not the time it takes to reach the star. That is the time to ride a single lap around its outer rim. How is the mind supposed to hold a shape like that? We reach for words like vast, like immense, and they crack and crumble long before they get anywhere near the truth of this object. Here is the part that genuinely unsettles me. A star this enormous is not a monument to strength. What it really is, deep down, is a tragedy playing out in slow motion, a giant teetering right at the lip of collapse. Over uncountable ages, it has grown so wide that its outer layers now float at a hopeless distance from its own heart. And out there, the pull of gravity has gone thin and almost careless. Hour after hour, the star is losing the long war against its own weight. Without pause, it bleeds, flinging millions of tons of itself out into the freezing void, until it sits cloaked in a glowing fog made of its own unraveling body, a veil of rust-colored dust and restless wind reaching out for billions of miles. Get close to that surface, and the sight turns nightmarish. None of it is smooth, none of it is calm. Instead, it heaves and shifts, a blistered ocean that never once finds rest. From deep in the core, raw heat shoves its way upward in vast rising columns, lifting swollen blisters of liquid fire that bulge and then burst open into space. A single one of those rupturing bubbles is wider across than our whole planetary system. On our own Sun, the churning cells that haul heat up to the surface are each about the size of a continent. On this hypergiant, those same cells have ballooned into things the imagination cannot grip. Every one of them a roaming country of plasma larger than the distance out to the far planets. They swell and tear wide open, then sink back down to begin the whole cycle once more. A surface that behaves far less like a star and far more like a slow, raging storm with no shore and no horizon. Up close, this is a place of relentless, deafening fury, roaring out in silence into the dark corridors between the stars. A flame burning this hard cannot keep going forever. Stephenson 218 is running on time it has already borrowed. Since it carries such a staggering amount of mass, its heart is forced to devour fuel at a reckless, ruinous speed, simply to keep pushing back against the unbearable load bearing down from above. It is starving itself just to stay standing. Picture a fire so vast that it has to burn its own fuel 100,000 times faster than our Sun ever will, not to grow, but only to avoid falling in on itself. That is the bargain a star this size is forced to make. It buys a few more moments of life by rushing headlong toward its own ending. and it has already turned to the last desperate page of its own story. Soon, and on the long clock of the universe, soon is hardly more than one quiet flicker, the fuel hoarded deep in its core will finally run dry. At that exact second, the outward shove of fusion that propped everything up will switch off for good. And gravity, patient and never once beaten, finally steps in to collect the debt it has always been owed. With nothing left to hold them up, those 10 billion suns worth of material come thundering inward. The entire outer body of the star plunges toward its dead heart at a savage portion of light's own pace, every ounce of that unthinkable bulk slamming into the middle in less time than it takes to blink. Then the universe itself seems to flinch. The rebound rips the star wide open in a hypernova, a detonation so absurdly violent that for a handful of short days, this one dying speck will outshine every other star in the galaxy put together. Imagine a living world somewhere on the far side of the Milky Way, with its own oceans and its own quiet evenings. For a brief stretch of nights, its sky would carry a fierce new point of light, bright enough to throw faint shadows after dark and to drown out their own moon, and not one creature down there could ever guess they were watching a giant come apart. An unseen spear of radiation lances out across deep space, and any silent world unlucky enough to lie in its line is stripped of its sky in a moment, whole light years from the source. The Titan throws itself apart into the black as a swelling cloud of glowing ruin. And right at the heart of it, in the very spot where the largest star we have ever found once stood, a wound opens in reality, just a pit of bottomless density, a monstrous new black hole pulled together out of the ashes of a fallen god. Sit with what that actually means. The single largest, brightest thing we have ever laid eyes on does not drift off gently into a quiet old age. It ends by folding itself down into a point so dense that light itself can no longer climb back out. The biggest object in our records becomes, in one heartbeat, one of the darkest. Every bit of that fire, all of that impossible reach across the emptiness, crushes inward into a stillness so total that nothing, not even a single ray of light, will ever be permitted to escape it again. The most overwhelming object the cosmos can build signs off by becoming the one place where even a ray of light goes to vanish. We sit 20,000 years of light away from every part of this. We are safe. Whatever fate finally takes this giant, its ending has no way of reaching us. And still, just knowing the thing is out there changes what the darkness means to me. The night sky stops being a gentle roof tucked over your bed. It becomes a wide, lawless wilderness, scattered with the graves of giants. Somewhere in that bitter cold, stars far larger than our sun are holding tight to their last few breaths. There are sizes out there the human mind was simply never shaped to carry. So the next time you stand under a clear night and that scatter of stars feels calm and unchanging, remember what those points of light really are. Furnaces. Some of them dying, some already gone, their final flash still on its way to us across the centuries. We are nothing more than small, briefly glowing motes, drifting through the dark, quietly waiting for the next giant to fall.